Alright, so we're done with the speaker spacers. I'm just about to drill these in. And the metal's really thick, so you'll just mark where you're screwing and then use a self-tapper screw, which you can get from Home Depot in a big ass set. Pre-drill the hole and then go back to your position and drill that bitch in. And we got one, and you'll have to do it to opposite sides. And move her around like the horse she is. And these screws are just regular drywall screws. Nothing fancy. That spacer's already on there good. I had two other holes, but the holes aren't going to line up, so it looks like we're just going to put those two, and then I'll put another one in the back with the something to screw into, like a retaining clip or whatnot. So that takes care of that. Then we have our speaker over here. Let's grab our speaker really quick. And we have our speaker. Now we can flush mount the speaker in. And it's not going to hit anything behind, and we'll have clearance from the door, and it also sits flush without rattling at all. So there's carpet on this speaker spacer, so that way we don't have any rattle, but you can also use Dynamat around it, which we'll do later. Let's get on to the next step, which is cutting the door. And what I mean by cutting the door is there is a lip on the door panel right here that needs to get cut out all the way around, because this will hit the speaker. So we're going to cut this door lip right here, and after we're done, our door should clear. So you can use pretty much anything. I'm going to use this, and it just cuts pretty easy. You could just use like a regular box cutter. Just cut it as close as possible to the door without actually cutting in the door. Twist the door panel around if you need to. Hopefully you're ambidextrous so you can cut this shit with your left hand too. Once again, try to avoid cutting all the way through the door, because you don't want to hack this open. And we got pretty much the door cut here. Give it a little bit more shaving. Try to cut this as close as possible, because this really does need as much space as possible to clear the speaker, because if you don't mount the speaker exactly in the center, which is pretty damn near impossible, it will actually, the speaker will actually hit this lip and end up screwing up your speaker over time. And you'll probably hear it in your vehicle as well. It'll sound funny because it'll be hitting it or something. So it's best to make sure you cut it as close as possible. After you're done cutting this, your next step is to wire it up. So we're going to go ahead and get that started, and we'll show you how that looks. So we pulled the panel off to mount the tweeter. We decided to mount it on the factory bracket, or the A-pillar. So it's going to go right here. I marked where I'm going to drill it, and we're going to just use a hole saw. You can buy these for 10 bucks, Harbor Freight, and put firm pressure where you mark it, so that way you're drilling in the place that you need. And drill through. You might have to move it over a little bit, like it looks like it's pretty close to the corner right here, so let's see how it fits. We got the template somewhere in here for the tweeter. Let's see here. Turn it off. Alright, so we have our tweeter hole. You just sand out the burrs later when you're ready. I'm just gonna fit it in just so I can show you guys what it looks like. And the screw will go on the back, right there through the middle. This will hold it in place. You just screw it into that. And you have a very nice flush mount tweeter. Run the wire through the hole. Both wires go through the same hole. Pull it all the way through. And our wire is going to go through the door panel. So unfortunately I'm not going to show you how to do it through there because it's going to be a lengthy video if I do. But basically what's going to happen is the wire is going to go through the door jamb boot. And I'll show you where the door jamb boot is. If you want to tackle that, that'll be completely up to you. But for our purpose today, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it off video, off camera. But I'll go ahead and get this mounted properly, and basically it'll look flush like that. And we'll have this pivoting wherever it needs to go. So that's how that will work. The wires are going to come through here where the door jamb boot is, and it'll go in through here. This door jamb boot comes off from the rubber grommet right here, and you just pull it out, feed the wire as best you can through here using a zip tie, as long as the zip ties you can find. Usually you'll need like a 3 or 4 foot zip tie, and then feed the zip tie through there easier, and then take the wire from inside here and tape it up to the wire, and then pull the zip tie back out. So you'll have to feed the zip tie through here, or feed it through the top part and then go through, and that'll get your wire through. And we decided to go ahead and mount our crossover to the door right here, and the wire is going to go from here through the door itself. We'll drill a little hole right here, feed the wire through the back, and then the input is right here. So the input comes from right here. So you'll cut these wires. We're not going to actually cut them, we're just going to T-tap them with some connectors, but you can actually cut them. And then what it is red is positive, and all the other door speakers, how you'll know is positive is there's a little line right here, the groove. To the right of that line is all positive, to the left is all negative. So this is going to be negative over on this side, this is going to be positive on this side, on this groove right here. And we'll go ahead and zoom into the groove, and right there is that groove that I'm talking about, all the wires to the right of it. So if you're looking at it on this side, then you need to flip it upside down and see the groove, and to the right of the groove is all positive on the Honda. So we'll go ahead and cut that off. That's going to go to the input of the The positive, which is red, is going to go to the positive of the input. The negative, which is purple, is going to go to the negative of the input. And then from the woofer right here, it's going to go the negative and positive to the speaker, and we'll mount it here. And then the tweeter, we're going to run that through the boot, and then it'll just connect to the negative and positive of the tweeter, and then we're all done. Putting back the door panel is just reverse process. Put the door panel on like so, and what you make sure you do is this little lip right here is actually going to go over this lip right here, and square it up with this little lip right here where there's a square right here with the opening. Just make sure that the opening lines up right there, and then you line up your make sure your wires come through as well, so that way it doesn't prevent the panel from going all the way in. You put the panel back on, and then just give it a good slap till it snaps in place, and you'll hear your snaps. And then you put your screw back in, put that screw in, shove your window switch on both the connectors, and you're all done. And move on to the other side. And the other side is the same thing. You'll be drilling the other side, run the wire through again if you're using components. If you're using coaxials, then you don't need to run wires at all. You're lucky. You're not screwed like us. So, if you have any questions, feel free to comment. Post any recommendations for other people if you have any recommendations. The baffles you can purchase from Metra online or from eBay. They make them from Metra. Scosh, I think, makes a couple as well, and that'll help you actually mount the speaker easier if you want to go that route, or you can flush it onto the window, and hopefully you don't have any rattle, or hopefully it doesn't hit the window or whatnot. This is Modified signing out. Till next time.